This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is relaying. And yes, this is going to be a very brief, sort of a Starship review for Starship locations of the SDF One, the Macross Mega Road from the Macross series, or Robotech, as is known in the United States. I know quite a lot about the Macross and Robotech and stuff because I did a lot of fan parodies. This website is the Robotech Saga Wiki. It's not mine, someone else. It's a spaceship from an anime series, Japanese anime series that aired in the 1980s and later came to America in the mid-1980s. So yeah, the series was basically 3 different stories. It was Space Fortress Battleship Macross. It was Space Cavalry Southern Cross, and then Space Climber Matsupieda. The 3 series were put together into an 85-episode series by Harmony Gold and Carl Macek. Carl Macek is more famous for, Fist of the North Star. Infamous, I should say. His guys butchered the Macross series, but in some cases they did a fairly good job. But this is not about what the Macross series was. This is about the ship. Okay, the Mega Road, the ship. The Battle Fortress was Zor's Battle Fortress from the Masters in the American continuity. Zor's Battle Fortress traveled through hyperspace in the far-off year 1999, crash-landed on the Earth into Macross Island, which was kind of like Bikini Atoll. And then, at the time, the global civil war was going on, so the ship was used as a, it was an alien ship, so the world decided that it wouldn't fight anymore each other, so they rebuilt the alien ship. This is the Sdf One model. This has an interesting backstory, the Sdf One model. This is a Matchbox Sdf One toy, painted up to look like the Japanese version of it, and added extra parts to it. This model was intriguing in that it was broken by my friend Jim, Buffkin, Jim Picon, from our during the high school days, and tossed out in the ivy in the backyard. And then some kid found it and brought it to Goodwill. And a year later, I found it at the Milpitas Goodwill. So I brought it home. It was the same toy. And I repaired it. My dad was an engineer. And he, although a telephone engineer, he did know something about other things like crazy glue and stuff like that. Said, here's what you got to do to make this work again. Okay, and 9 years later, in 2009, the Battle Fortress was rebuilt, and there was a big inauguration party, and there was launched the ship under Admiral Global, or General Global, and the aliens came looking for the ship because they detected the spacefold from the ship being launched, and the aliens came to check it out, and a war started between the aliens and the humans. The aliens were called the Zentradi, alien giants. So those of you that like the giants, Nephilim and all that, they were kind of Nephilim. Yeah, they come to Earth, and the Mega Road or Mega Lord is essentially a super heavy cruiser. So that's what the ship is. It contained a population of over 70,000 people, about 85,000 if you count them and the command crew. This was an accident because when the ship tried to spacefold to the Jupiter system, to Pluto, it accidentally swallowed up the island, which had 70,000 people on it. Now, for perspective, the town of Milpitas, bordering on San Jose, is 76,000. So that's a lot of people on this spaceship. So this thing is huge. The ship is, I'm going to read the dimensions here. from the wiki page, is 1,210 meters long. It has a breadth and beam of 486 meters and 312 meters depth in, I'm assuming, ship mode. It could transform into a giant robot, and it had a barrier system and a main cannon, the Macross cannon, which was lethal to large fleets and probably small planets. The ship was a kind of complement of Valkyries, thousands of Valkyries, 800 I think, something like that. And several destroids and other aircraft and spacecraft and giant robots, basically. This model was so cool that when it was finally completed in, probably redone in, I think we had this out redone by the 90s, I would say the early 90s. And so yeah, we've been using this model ever since in stuff, since even the Blair Witch parody with the Transformers. So yeah, this thing has been in everything. It does transform into a Battloid. It's not 1.5 miles long here, as you can see. It's not to scale. Also, it's kind of funny that it's got on the back little logo. Macross logos on the back of it. It has markings on the back. These are redone. These are not the original paint scheme. I thought instead of getting on the online stuff, I would show you this unique model instead, and cut back to it and stuff, whatever. It's very unique. It's been in the Transtech movies. It also played as in the new movies, as the newer ones, as one of the other ships in the fleet. It played as the Prometheus. So, yeah. Ironically, the spacecraft carriers are the Prometheus and the Daedalus. In the American one, not in the Japanese one, not in Macross Do You Remember Love, either, which is a continuity-accurate retelling of all of the events of just Macross, done as a special. So that movie is Do You Remember Love is accurate. Yeah. People flew the giant robots called the Vorath. And, yeah, so that's the Macross. Yeah, comparatively in the Star Trek realm, the ship is over 1 mile long, so it would be considered similar and comparable in size to maybe the City ship from Voyager, or the Borg cube from the Borg. Okay, yeah, so the Borg cube. The Enterprise D is a little smaller. Yeah, by about maybe 2/3 the size, roughly. So there's 1,000 people on the Enterprise D. If you crammed everything inside. I'm assuming that the 70,000 people are in the belly of the ship and that they were able to build a city around inside it. And that's how that works. But yeah. But the science is a little funky, but it is a cartoon. So there's lots of other data that you can look up on what the ship does and what it is, the fan series and ship information. The spoilers, if you haven't seen the show, the ship was destroyed in 2012 during the battle with Chiron's cruiser. Now, Chiron's cruiser was smaller, and it was comparable in size to, say, the Enterprise, roughly. This is the Enterprise from later on. Some fans on Trek Yards today were asking about the SDF-3 and whether they would do it. And since I hinted at, not related to them, but since I hinted at of this many times, I'm going to do this as a review of the ship, the SDF-3, the SDF-1, I should say, because I'm going to do the review. And if they want to use some of this footage, go ahead. Let's see what we have here. Lots of different versions of it and stuff like that. Lots of pictures that are probably copyrighted. I happen to have a model so get the model out. Yeah. So, the Robotech show was extremely popular when I was a little kid, a teenager. Watched it religiously along with Transformers, G.I. Joe as well. We liked it. My friends and I liked it so much. It was part of our role-playing game. We played the Palladium role-playing Robotech the role-playing game. You guys can check that out. There's probably you can get an online version of that. Look it up. The book version was from the 80s and 90s. Played the role-playing game. Played the Veritechs and Destroids and things. Mainly Veritechs. Like those. Lots of Veritechs on the set. Also, my series with Mark's Cards, the Transformers Meets Robotech, was our fan film series, love letter to Transformers and Star Trek, that we did from roughly, well, it was finished in, the first element of that was finished in 2002, roughly. And then the sequels were 2006 and 2009. All of them were put out on DVD in 2010 and put on early YouTube 2011, 2012 or so on our channels with any copyrighted music or other materials removed. So they're up there if you want to watch those. We had done other fan films as well, Star Trek, and our current project is Star Trek Chimera, a Star Trek fan film, and it's taking as long as this other one did. This other one is 24 episodes. It's a series where the Robotech people meet the Transformer people because of an accident in the story. At the end of the Robotech cartoon series, only the American version, they said Rick Hunter's ship the SDF-3, never materialized from hyperspace. So that was the hook to our story. We said, guess where the SDF-3 went? It went into another universe and encountered the Autobots and Decepticons in the Transformers universe. So it gets to go with the Transformers universe. And the Quintessons and these other aliens and the Vok try to help them get home because they don't want them there either. Yeah, and Space Bridge, our sequel from 2 years ago, 2015, 2016, at that time period we did a sequel. It was called Robotech the Endless Circle, and Space Bridge was the sequel. That was more of a 3-part sequel for both of those. And we tied the Robotech one together. So liked the Robotech one, that was 3 sequels, that Endless Circle, that we made a movie out of it. We added another 25 minutes and made a movie. Posted that as well, so you can check that out on our channel, Weird Kitty 07. Also, the Space Bridge followed within 6 months, and we did Space Bridge, and it was Transformers go back to the Transtech land and see us in the 2016 in that one. They weren't in the future in that one. The other one was the Robotech wrap-up thing that Harmony Gold refused to do. So we got a hold of an early version of it and did our version there. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the model. So there's the ship. There's the model ship. The SDF-2 was destroyed at the same time the SDF-1 was by Chiron's battleship, which attacked the SDF-2 first, and then went after the damaged SDF-1, which was in the lake city, the Macross city's lake. Chiron's ship destroyed it. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So in the Japanese one, Rick Hunter never is mentioned in the 3rd Japanese series. So in Space Climber Metsukida, that's just the Expedition Force. It's not Rick Hunter, which makes that scene make more sense. And just for kicks, here's the ship. Now this is my version of the ship, so it's not really, you could transform this, but I'm leery of actually transforming it because it is so old that it probably will break in half if I try to put it in robot mode. But here is the toy. And it's got a layer of dust on it. I'm showing you the toy from movies, from my parodies and movie fan films. And of course, so in the later Transtech stuff, The first stuff was all done 4:3 ratio and all that because it was for TV. It was never released with unofficial television, though. It was not budgeted for that. Yeah, never. We come to another ship. Yeah, it was all free. It was all done without any profit and put up for free. No AdSense. So yeah, completely legit. It's a parody. So yeah, here's a ship. SDF ship. So this is more of an SDF 3 showing off a model thing. Sdf One showing off a model thing. Well, technically, the way this is reconstructed, it's the Do You Remember Love Macross. So it's the movie version. Yep, and it's got all the details too, which is neat. That's, I mean, it's not perfect, but considering for the time, and considering it being one of the only models my father and I actually did together, yeah, it's kind of cool. Looks like a piece of it came off here. Where that went. Oops. Yeah. See a little gray piece lying around. Sheldon's Hobby Shop in San Jose, if it still exists, helped with some of the plastic. It's painted over in Tester's toy car paint, a little bit of spray paint, and a little of undercoat. You can see where parts of the paint applications were not applied, and that's fine. So this thing is like really long. In other sci-fi shows, the Galactica is about the same size. So the Battlestar Galactica is roughly the same size with roughly the same sort of, it's a little over a mile long. So yeah, Galactica. So one of the guys on Trek asked, what would it be in a fight with the Excalibur from Babylon 5? And I smirked and commented, that wouldn't be much of a fight. The battleship Excalibur and the Victory from B5 is equivalent to the Enterprise D, or maybe smaller. I would say actually no, the Enterprise B. So yeah, no, 300 crew roughly is smaller than the Enterprise, original Enterprise, which had 430. So I would say the Excalibur is equivalent to either the Enterprise B or the Excelsior. Probably, let's say the Enterprise B, just because it's overproduced. And the Enterprise B is more powerful than the Excelsior. Has big it can have a gun, I guess, if you adjusted the deflector dish. Although, interestingly enough, the SDF-1's main gun is similar to the Minbari guns in B5. So there you go. So it's similar. This ship would be similar to the Narn and Minbari main battleships and the shadow ships. Big ones. The really big ones. So yeah. Anyway. So yeah. Now over here, we have a ship that's been featured before. There's my Metroplex in the background. We have a ship that's been featured before, and it's very unusual. It's one of my models here. It is the SDF-3. They didn't build a toy of the SDF-3, and my Uncle Bill, years ago, who was a balsa wood toy ship maker guy, he built like boats and ships and stuff. Never built an aircraft carrier. I wanted one, but he never didn't really do military stuff. I built this out of balsa in honor of that. It can't come off this box because it will fall apart. It's actually kind of delicate. It was in the films. It was in Trends Tech 2 and 3 as the SDF-3, and it was featured again as the SDF-3 in the both of the new ones, the End of Endless Circle and Space Bridge. And this is the SDF-3, the Space Cruiser SDF-3 model, based on the movie Robotech the Sentinels. It even has the front end guns. It is not transformable, and it's got the guns. It looks like sort of a hybrid of the ship from that and the ship from the Shadow Chronicles, in which they claimed they were going to find the ship and never did. And my camera is hitting the ship. Turn it around this way, I guess. And yes, it's not a 3D model, it's an actual toy model. And yeah, it's got lots of cool details to look at. It's neat. Yeah, so my version of the SDF-3, because it's my version, is 1.5 miles long. It is similar to the Distant Destinies Starship California, which is from my science fiction book series, Adam M. Brown, of course. Yes, and real name. But in terms of Star Trek or other sci-fi, yeah, the Vorath ship, the Borg, the Dominion super battle cruiser, the big one that didn't do anything in the finale of Deep Space Nine, similar to that. It's similar to the Galactica from the new Galactica, because it was 2006. So this was built in 2005, 2006. It's been slightly updated since then for Space Bridge, but mainly to fix it. There was some damage to the midsection and the guns, and it was reattached partly on the sides because they fell off. But yeah, it's an original model. So it's the SDF-3, and yeah, it's balsa mainly, with the little extras thrown in there. It's, the Chimera and my other ships will be in there too, but I'm just showing you this. Show you, this isn't necessarily, I didn't want to necessarily do a review of just like all the ships you've seen online, because I figured, you know, it'd be kind of cool, show my own. I'll do like a oh, this would be neat. I'm gonna do a thing on the SDF-1, the Mega Road, and my own. And this is, yeah, and it's designed to look like the SDF-3, but it's a Zentradi ship that's been rejiggered into it to make it look like it. So it's neat. Anyway, so yeah, just a little bigger. And the other ship was... Oh, so yes, rather than show you all of the online stuff about the SDF-1 and the SDF-3, and since I've gone over the stuff when I was doing my Robotech making of videos on my parodies, you can totally go there and watch the history of Robotech as we fans saw it back in 2015 during the anniversary. That's why I did the video. And the Transformers anniversary. It's also around the same time. So yeah, I talked about the whole history of the 3 shows and all that stuff. You can watch that on the channel. This was just the ships, so I just decided to do a thing on the ships. The SDF-1 and the SDF-3, according to, yeah, just guess stuff. I could show you pictures from the online ones, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just have showed you the models. I hope you enjoyed them, because then hopefully when Trekyard sees some of this, they'll want to do it. Yeah, these were city ships. They any final thoughts? I guess they'd be kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool if you're going to do a crossover. Galactica and Robotech would really kind of work. I'll do other ships in the universe, in the canon, and discuss other ships as well. But it won't be half as cool as Trekyard's does it. I just thought to throw the SDF-1 in there and throw the hat in the ring. I'm not even wearing a hat. And show it off, because it's really cool. And yeah, it's one of the favorite ships yeah, in the fleet. So there you go. Robotech SDF-1 model toy thing ship. Yeah, and since they're my personal models that have been modified, it's cool that they're different. It's an unusual thing. So it's a review of some unusual things. I think I haven't thought about it, but I suspect the cannon. I suspect the cannon on the SDF-3 is more powerful than the cannon on the SDF-1. And what's interesting also is that the SDF-3 model toy there looks a lot like the ship from Macross 7, which came later, which is kind of a neat idea. And a little bit of the Macross 2 one, all done earlier in the 90s. So So I was probably inspired by that. Also, the design looks a little bit like the Chimera in a lot of ways, because there's only certain configurations you can do with balsa and basswood and make it look like something. There was a bunch of other places we went to get stuff, mainly hobby shops that might still not exist. Sheldon's Hobby, Michael's, Art Supply, Home Depot, places like that. To get art supplies for doing that. It's got astronomically expensive since then, so yeah, our sets are deteriorating because we can't really get more of it. But yes, there it is. Yeah, so it was cool doing that SDF thing, and I might do some other ships in the future. Who knows? Okay, in Space Bridge, we had another ship, and it was the Archangel, which was from I was paying homage to Robotech, the third one, the Archangel, and that's the actress in the background there, Star Wars, and the other actress. But yeah, it was just a Fortress Maximus transformed into city mode. That's all it was, and there's Fort Maximus sitting there. So there he is. So and there's Crystal Pepsi. Yay, LA Beast! Yay. Anyway, so yeah, that's all it was. But you figure that here's the newer one, newer Fortress Maximus. But yeah, these are cities too. These are city robots. So if they want to do a city one, they're supposed to be cities. If they hold hundreds of transformers, they probably hold thousands of people, right? Yeah. So, and there's Metroplex, the bigger one, and there's an old classic Scorponok. So it's cool. So anyway, yeah. And that is a runabout from the stories. So this might be kind of a cool thing to do with some ships and they have them on hand, so I'll just whip them out and do them, and then it'll be a little while before we get around to the Chimera ships, but a little while. But there's other things to review. So yeah, so there you go. There's my review of the Sdf One. The ship that flew the Robotech people, Rick Hunter and Ray Foker and all that, Lisa Hayes, Lin Min May and all that, yeah, so the Sentinels, I mentioned the Sentinels, that was a series spin-off that was supposed to take place concurrent with the events of the second series, the middle one, but they were off in space, so it's going to be like in the middle of it. Fans wanted it to continue and to do that. They never got around to it. The studio lost money and didn't want to do it on a Robotech live-action movie. Not a live-action movie. It was a Robotech conglomerate movie. Carl Macek and his guys slapped together two. They slapped together Love Live Alive and Megazone 23, the Robotech, the movie. They basically took Megazone 23 and stuck Robotech footage into it. So it does not make any sense. And Love Live Alive they re-released recently in 2016 on DVD and added weird stuff like Lancer having a baby or going to or something, which is really dumb. Yeah. Nobody liked that idea because Love Live Alive did not need to be remade and adding like a baby just because I guess he had a grandchild or something and thought, ooh, we're going to put that in there. Like, no, guys, really? Let's just kill it. No. But yeah, sure. Robotech. Yeah, well, you know what? Another thing I'll point out before I go on this one is Robotech was unique because as a Japanese cartoon, similar in tone to Yamato, or as we call it, Space Battleship, Star Blazers. Star Blazers here, or Space Battleship Yamato. The Yamato of which would be comparable to the Enterprise from the classic show in battle. Maybe the Excelsior in battle. Or that Excalibur ship from Babylon 5, except slightly smaller. Yeah, the Babylon 5 one would probably kick its ass. Unless it used the wave motion gun, at which point it would completely vaporize everything. In the 90s, my friends and I did a role-playing scenario involving the Enterprise D, aboard ship the SDF-1 and the Argo from yeah, Star Blazers. They had a fight, and we rolled the dice, and basically the Argo held its own against the Borg ship. It like blew holes in it and stuff, and then devastated the Enterprise D because it had a wave motion gun. But the Enterprise D flew circles around it, and that was followed by the Macross showing up and firing its main cannon and melting the Borg ship. So, because it would have melting. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. These idea of war and peace space movies modeled after World War II space cartoons, like Robotech, like Star Wars in a way, and like at least some of the battles, dogfights, the idea of a space war epic with honor and war and peace and fighting and young men going into battle and a little bit of the love triangle of the man and the, that's all in there, and it's all in Japanese cartoons, and this was one of the first ones to do that successfully and go all over the place, go viral, as they say, and it was very popular because it did that, and the characters died. It wasn't like Looney Tunes where they come back. They died. If they got shot, they died. It was like, can American kids handle this? Yes, they can. It's a cartoon. But another ship we should do is the Captain Harlock ship, the Arcadia. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. Not to be confused with Queen of a Thousand Years, which is the one that they grafted to it, the American version. Yes, the Arcadia. And we should do that one at some point, because that Captain Harlock is actually an in-canon spin-off of Space Battleship Yamato. I know this. The friend Tim and the friend Jim more about Yamato and the Kimis from later. But then Captain Harlock than this one. And there's some excellent Captain Harlock updates and some excellent Space Battleship Yamato updates. There was an excellent movie from a few years ago, I think 2013 or so. That was very cool in a new series. There was a bunch of other stuff. They're still doing them. Captain Harlock they're still doing too, and they had a movie, I think it was 2014 or so. They did a Captain Harlock movie. It was good. It was okay. It was very true to the Japanese one. Also, a little known show called Escaflowne, but that didn't have any giant motherships unless you count the pirate ship in the movie version, which was a pirate ship, sure. Arr, it's a pirate ship to be, arr. But yeah, I was going on the other Japanese cartoons that I could do. But yeah, totally, SDF Macross was one of the first out of the gate, so it gets the credit. Yes, I know Yamato came first by a couple of years. I think it was 78, 79, somewhere around there. That one came out. A little earlier, yeah. But it didn't come. It wasn't Star Blazers here until 82, roughly. Say 82, 83. It's a little bit before Robotech. Yeah. Robotech was here by 85. So was a little known show called Transformers. Followed immediately 8 months later by a little known show called G.I. Joe. All aired on Channel 2 back in the day. Yes, a real American hero, G.I. Joe. Yes, which definitely was sort of a World War II / Vietnam / thing, but with funny stuff where nobody really died. They fired laser guns at each other and stuff. No one died. When they killed Duke, that was different. There are ships and vehicles in that too. Look at that. There's a few in there. Yeah. Not nearly as cool as the Nemesis and the Ark. Trek Web's a good job doing that one. That was cool. Nemesis and the Ark, although in the game that Transformers Prime is loosely based on, it was actually Trypticon. It was the dinosaur guy who transformed into the ship. And now there's a Trypticon toy that I do not have yet. Yes, but he's smaller than the other ones. I'm not sure whether I want to spend that. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so there's my review of the SDF, and then rambling on for a little bit longer about the other favorite shows, because that's cool. Yeah, there will be more parodies, definitely. Come up with something. Yes, so